Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we'll go over how to create a certificate of performance. Now, in order to create a certificate of acceptable performance for your lab, we'll go to the far left to the certificate icon and click on certificates. We'll choose the program that we want to create this acceptable performance certificate for. For example, we select clinical chemistry, and then we can go ahead and choose a date range. For example, here, the date range is from 26th of July, 2025 to the 1st, or to the 26th, actually, the 26th of January, 2026. I can choose a different date range if I want to. If I want to choose a different date range to create this performance certificate, I can simply click on the calendar icon here and then choose a different date range. So for example, let's say I want to go back to 2024 and I want to create a certificate from Jan 1st, 2024 to August 1st, 2024. Once I've inputted the date ranges that I want to create the certificate for, I'll simply click on this icon right here to create or to generate the certificate. Now, once we click on that icon on top, we'll see for which instruments we can actually generate the certificate for. For example, here you have participant instrument 3008345. I can generate a certificate of acceptable performance for this particular instrument. Why can't I generate a certificate of performance for the other instruments? There could be many different reasons. One of the biggest reasons could be that, for example, for instrument 3008344, you did not meet the actual target percentage. In order to generate the certificate of acceptable performance, RICUS needs to get back at least 6 samples. In this case, for example, for this instrument right here for uric acid, this lab did not submit any results. They need to submit at least 6 results in order to get a certificate of acceptable performance. So that's one of the big reasons why you might not be able to generate a certificate of acceptable performance. Another reason could be that you don't have any records for that particular instrument. For example, you haven't actually started submitting any samples for it, any results for it. If I look at the instruments that you can actually generate the certificate for, and I open, for example, instrument 3008345, if I click on the down arrow here, I'll be able to see the actual amount of returns that I've sent for a particular analyte in that instrument. So for example, for albumin, I've sent 15 out of 15 samples back. I've sent results for 15 out of 15 samples. Remember, you need at least 6 sample return in order to create a certificate for acceptable performance. If I have at least 6 samples that I've returned the results for, then I can actually create a certificate of acceptable performance, as long as that particular analyte has an acceptable performance or an absolute standard deviation index of less than 2. Then I'll be able to create a certificate of acceptable performance for that particular test. Now, in order to finally create the certificate, simply click next to the instrument name, simply click on the Generate button. And we wait for it to then load. The certificate will then be downloaded right on your computer. If I open the certificate for you, you can see the certificate of acceptable performance looks like this. As I said before, you have to have a level of acceptable performance. For RICUS, that is an average absolute SDI of less than 2. So it will be the average of your submitted samples, the results of those submitted samples for that particular test. Thank you so much for listening.